Okay, so today we're diving into something you just don't see every day: a public, no holds barred clash between two of the most powerful leaders on the entire planet, the President of the United States and the Pope. And look, this isn't some quiet diplomatic spat. It's a full blown American feud, and it's playing out right in front of all of us. So, on one side, you've got Donald Trump, right? The quintessential New York billionaire who becomes president. And on the other, Pope Leo XIV, who just happens to be the first American pope ever, a guy from Chicago, of all places. And it's that shared American background, believe it or not, that's making this whole thing so explosive. See, because they're both Americans, they're not doing the whole polite diplomatic dance. There are no carefully worded letters being sent through back channels here. Nope. They speak the same direct, unfiltered political language. And what that means is the sparks are flying, and we're all getting a front row seat. It's basically a public argument. So where did this firestorm even begin? Well, it all kicked off with their completely opposite views on the growing conflict in Iran. President Trump has been taking what a lot of people call a tough guy approach. He's been out there threatening massive military strikes, and the justification is that they're needed to protect global trade. But here's the key part. His administration also started using religious language, framing a potential war as some kind of moral necessity. Well, the Pope's response was swift, and it was blunt. Pope Leo fired back with a super clear message: don't use God's name to justify a war. He straight up called the White House's rhetoric unacceptable, and then warned that world leaders were suffering from a dangerous delusion of power. Ouch. And that right there is when this whole thing spiraled. It stopped being about policy and turned into something way more direct, way more personal. The war of words was on. This is the moment President Trump did what he's famous for, right? When he feels challenged, he goes on the attack. He took to social media, he got in front of the cameras, and he made this fight personal. The attacks were sharp. He called the Pope weak, which is kind of his go-to insult. He branded him as very liberal. And then he dropped this bombshell claim that the Pope was okay with Iran getting nuclear weapons, which, the Vatican had to immediately come out and say was completely false, a total fabrication. And just to show you how deep this rift had gotten, when reporters asked the president if he'd meet with the Pope to maybe, smooth things over, his answer was just a blunt dismissal. Pass. Not necessary. Wow. No meeting, no making up. But, if the president thought his attacks would shut the Pope down, well, he was wrong. This Chicagoan Pope was not about to be bullied into silence. Get this. While he was flying to Africa, the Pope was talking to reporters on his plane, and he gave them this simple, powerful message: I have no fear. It was a crystal clear signal to Washington that he was not backing down. So basically, Pope Leo just doubled down. He fully embraced his role as a global peacemaker, and he made it pretty clear that he was willing to keep speaking out for peace, even if that meant he'd become President Trump's #1 critic on the world stage. But this is so much more than just a war of words between two powerful men. This feud really matters because it's created a genuine global standoff, one that really makes you question our whole idea of power, influence, and where we draw the line between politics and faith. And it's created this incredibly difficult dilemma for millions of American Catholics. It's forcing them to ask a really tough question. Who do you follow? Your president or your pope? It's like a loyalty test that pits your patriotism against your religious beliefs. I mean, think about it. You've got your political leader saying his actions are all about protecting the country. But then you have your spiritual leader, the head of your church, saying those exact same actions are a moral disaster that will get innocent people killed. This isn't just politics for millions of people. It's a real crisis of conscience. And let's be clear, this isn't in the history books yet. This is a live, ongoing conflict. Right now, as we speak, there is absolutely no sign of a truce. The standoff is still happening. And honestly, who knows what the long-term damage will be to the relationship between the US and the Vatican. This is truly a rare moment in modern history. Just picture it. You have the leader of the world's most powerful military standing on one side of a line drawn in the sand, and the leader of the world's biggest church representing over 1 billion people standing firmly on the other. Which leaves us all with this final, massive question that this whole thing hangs on. When two forces of this magnitude, the most powerful political office on Earth and its largest religious institution, collide head-on, who blinks first? Who gives way?